confidence in at nickel?
You know, Kamari's been played in the slot, and then we've been trying to rep as many guys in the slot all spring as possible. Just from a conceptual standpoint, a lot of the stuff's the same stuff you do at safety, so most of the safeties can play it. And then, you know, we have the ability to keep 3 inside backers in the game. And you have guys like EG that can play in that spot.
And we ask you every week, but anyone separating at the corner spot?
Not yet. It's still super competitive. You know, we're hoping the first couple weeks starts to iron itself out.
What have you been impressed with this week, and what still tweaks are you hoping to make up to the game?
Just impressed with just the guys in preparation. You know, it's cool at the end of camp. You can kind of see a switch in everybody. Like, now it's time to go. And just excited to see just the guys who, you know, we haven't been able to see play on game day. They've done a lot of good stuff in practice, but doing it in practice is one thing. Being able to do it on game day is completely different. So we're just excited for them.
How have your conversations changed this week leading up to the game?
Now we're just solely to focus on the opponent. You know, there's still stuff with us that we emphasize, but now a majority of the time, you know, we're talking about the personnel, what, you know, concepts we have to defend, what runs we have to defend. You know, less about us, more about them.
If there was a question you could get answered about your defense on Saturday, what would you want answered?
You know, can we affect the quarterback with 4 people?
Are Elijah Newby and Tamir Robinson practicing at specific positions, or are they still kind of doing both?
You know, Tamir's been a guy that's bounced around some, and Newby's been playing a ton of will. With those positions, you know, they're still able to do some stuff on the edge as well, especially in Newby, because he has the flexibility to do both, but he's been at will a majority of the time.
So Eric and him at will, I mean, that's pretty good. What's been your impressions of that position so far?
It's nice just to have, you know, multiple guys that can play on and off the ball, so it doesn't always have to be the same guy going on the edge. And if anything happens from a depth chart, it's nice that we can still keep on doing that all throughout the game.
What gives you confidence that this group is more capable of producing pressure with 4 than previously?
You know, I think I saw them put in the work in the spring. You know, I think they had a good camp. And at the end of the day, like, we just keep on emphasizing, it's about affecting the cue. You know, yes, we want sacks, but we also want to collapse the pockets. We also want good rush lanes. We want to speed up his clock. We want to make him come off a read. You know, there's different ways to affect him. But we just want to try to affect him as much as we can with 4 if possible.
I know Keyshawn has talked about wanting to show more from his pass rush. What have you seen just from the interior in terms of being able to?
You know, he can definitely push back the pocket. You know, we have a couple guys inside to do a really good job of putting pressure in the quarterback's face. But again, it's one thing to do it in practice. You know, we have to go out there and do it on Saturdays.
What have you seen from RJ Sermons so far?
Speed. You know, that's his first day out. You know, not being here at all in spring, coming out in camp is tough. But his first day out, like, his speed is apparent. And, you know, he has a lot of ability. He's just a guy we just need to get as many reps as possible. He needs to make all the mistakes out here on the field, because there's going to be plenty of them made. But he's a guy that has a bright future.
You've got a couple guys who are that young on defense. What have you noticed is maybe the most difficult part of kind of making that transition out of education?
You know, it's just depending on what high school you came from. You know, going to in college, it can be a big jump just from a playbook standpoint. You know, when we go through all of our terminology, all of our fronts, all of our coverages, pressures, adjustments, you know, it's like a class. You know, you have to learn how to take notes. You have to study stuff on your own. And there's some guys, when they get to college, they've never been in an install before. So I would say just learning that you have to be a student of the game. But, you know, the good thing now is all those guys, not all of them, but a bunch of them enroll in the spring. So they have all spring to learn those habits.
At this point last year to now, how has your mindset changed, the confidence in the group overall?
Just more confident just in the people, I guess. You know, the more you're around the individuals, the more you trust them. And I just think just us as a group, between the staff and the players, there's just more trust.
Lincoln Riley was pretty impressed with the Missouri State quarterback Jacob Clark. What have you seen from him?
You know, he's played a lot of football. You know, there's not a lot of defenses or coverages or fronts he hasn't seen. He makes very good decisions. From a route concept standpoint, they do a lot of good stuff on paper that really test your coverages, and he knows where to go with the ball.
So, Mark, what are some other objectives for this Missouri State game? Like, are you trying to make a statement? I know you want to rotate a lot of players.
You know, our goal is just to go out there and just, you know, execute the game plan at the highest level possible.